Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Liz, and in today's video, I'm sharing with you the top 10 Dollar Tree DIYs of 2020. These were the most popular ones, the ones you guys really said that you enjoyed, so let's get started. So in 2020, I made a lot of wall art pieces. I had this dowel rod in my garage, and I'm going to be using that for this wall piece. I'm going to be staining it with a product called Vintage Effects Wash. You guys know I love this product, and I'm going to be wiping off the excess. I'm going to create a hanger using twine at the top, and then I'll use a little bit more twine to wrap the edges and add some hot glue. Now for this project, I purchased macrame that was black, the black and white, and cream. So I'm going to be using that to create this project. Now, whenever you're making a wall hanging, you kind of have to use longer pieces than what you think. So I'm going to be wrapping around 10 strands of the macrame, and then I'm going to be looping it into itself, if that makes sense. And then I'm just going to be putting them onto my piece. I didn't want it to look exactly the same, so I kind of tried to make a random pattern using the black in the middle. Now I'm going to go back in and do various things to make them all kind of look unique. So I may tie knots, I may come back in and braid. There's just a lot of different techniques that you can do. You want it to be random. You don't want it to all look the same. So maybe do like a small braid, maybe do a thick braid, maybe only braid halfway down, do different knots, maybe do, several knots in a section. Once you get all of your knots and braids done, you want to cut it off. I love the look of when it goes down, kind of like an arrow going down towards the ground. So you just want to cut it off and make it look as nice and even as possible. And that's really all there is to making this cute wall hanging. So I printed off some really cute printables, and I also bought a frame from Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut it out so it fits perfectly into my frame. I'm not going to add the glass back in. Then I'm going to create a little hanger for the top here. So I just got some beads off of Amazon. I will link to them below. And then I put a needle through my string just to kind of feed the beads on there easier. I'm going to kind of figure out how many beads I want to have on there, and then I'm going to use some hot glue and duct tape to add them to the back of my frame. Now, I don't like to add these standalone, but I think if you put them in the middle of a wreath, they look really cute. And this wreath, I've had several questions about it. It's from Hobby Lobby, and you can buy it when it's 50% off. And it's their lamb's ear wreath. So you guys definitely enjoyed this tray project. I found this tray, and it's more of like a rectangular tray. I'm pretty sure they still have it because I saw something similar the last time I was at Dollar Tree. So you're going to take some popsicle sticks, and I just started by cutting one of the edges down with the popsicle sticks. Next, you're going to take one of your popsicle sticks and put it on the tray and kind of measure to make sure that it's going to fit across your tray. And then I took each one of my popsicle sticks and figured out where I need to cut them so that they were all the same length. And most of the time you can cut these off with a simple pair of scissors. Once I cut the other end off, I'm just going to start putting them in there to make sure that they line up. I'm going to leave a little bit of gap. I'm making it look kind of like shiplap, so I want it to have a little bit of a gap. And I'm going to come back in and hot glue all the pieces together once I know that they all kind of fit in there okay. Next, I'm going to spray paint it with a Rust-Oleum chalk paint. Honestly, you guys, this chalk paint is not my favorite, but it's what I had on hand. I usually prefer the Rust-Oleum just flat white spray paint. And I ended up doing 2 coats of the spray paint until everything was white. To distress the edges, I'm going to be using just a Sharpie. This is an easy way to add a little bit of distressing to your tray. Now, if you mess up, don't worry about it. You can just kind of fill it in up top. I think it gives each of the pieces a little bit of character, so don't worry if you mess up. Now next, you can always add in handles. I grabbed some nautical rope from Dollar Tree and I cut 2 pieces down about the same size, and I'm just going to hot glue them to the back. And I love the way this tray looks sitting out. I added a couple of vases that I had created. This has been in my dining room up until about the time of Halloween, and it's definitely going to be going back. I just love the way it looks. So I'm going to be using some black and white macrame as well as some of the planters that I picked up from Dollar Tree. Honestly, you could use any of their planters because we're going to be covering them. So I'm going to start with my yarn at the very bottom. So I'll put a bead of hot glue at the bottom. And then I'm just going to keep putting hot glue around the base and pushing my yarn so that it holds in place. I'm going to keep wrapping the yarn around the vase, adding in hot glue ever so often until I get to the very top. Next, I'm going to take some white macrame and make a very loose knot. And then I'm going to wrap it around my vase and hot glue it to the back. Now, I love making things like this because you can really just create as you go and, just try different techniques. With this other container, I ripped off all of the twine that was at the top, and I'm going to start by wrapping it with some black macrame yarn. Now, you could honestly use any yarn. The macrame cord is just a little stronger than regular yarn, and so that's why I'm using it. So I went about 1/3 of the way up with the black, and then I'm switching to the white. Again, just have fun with this, like create whatever, thing you want to make, whatever feels right. And then I'm going to come back in with the black. I just had so much fun making these and being creative. And I think these look great sitting out on a mantle. You can put in real plants, you can put in faux plants, whatever you like. I love these little flower and garden containers that they have at Dollar Tree. I could probably do a million projects with them. I'm going to start by painting over it with white chalk paint by Waverly. I found this Farm Fresh Market sign and I'm just going to cut it out, and then I'm going to Mod Podge it to the front of my container. I like to use the matte Mod Podge, and you can buy that at Dollar Tree as well. They sell it in the craft section. I'm using a cosmetic sponge to put the Mod Podge on. You can buy those at Dollar Tree. Now, a trick is to make sure that you let this dry completely before you put any Mod Podge on top of that. I get a lot of questions about why our piece is bubbling, and that's why, because you're not letting it dry before you put on a top layer. Now, you can add in so many different florals. You can add in the IKEA florals. These are really cute little sprigs that I purchased from Dollar Tree that I just love. You can put little floral pieces at the bottom and put them inside. There's so many options with this, and I just think it looks adorable sitting out. So for this project, I grabbed 3 vases from Dollar Tree, and I'm just gonna start by cleaning them because a lot of times they're not the cleanest. I grabbed the sticker at Dollar Tree that said Home Sweet Home. You can usually find this one pretty easily, and I'm just going to put one of the words on each of the mirrors. Then I'm going to use some buffalo check ribbon that I purchased at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to cut off 2 pieces so they're about the same size. I want to make them equal distances apart, so I'm going to hot glue this 2 top signs together, and then I'll do the bottom ones as well. After I get them about the same size, I'll flip them over to the back and cut off any excess, and then I'm going to create a little loop at the top to hang it from. And here's a look at how this easy wall art piece turned out. So for this next project, I grabbed some hexagon wall shelves from Dollar Tree, and I also grabbed one of their white trash cans. So I'm going to be using the trash can part as a backing piece for my shelves. So I'm just going to start by cutting off the bottom. If you have a nice pair of scissors, you should be able to use this. You can always use wire cutters as well. So I'm just going to cut off the top and the bottom. Then I'm going to take the backing piece to my hexagon shelves, and I'm going to use that as a template and use a Sharpie to draw around the edges. Now I know exactly where I need to cut because I'm basically creating a piece to put on the back of my shelves. Once I get it cut out, I'm going to put it on the back and make sure I don't have anything that's like hanging over the edge. If I do, I'll just cut that off. And then I'm going to add some hot glue to the back, and I will put the wire piece down in place, holding it until the glue has time to set up. I'm also going to add some additional hot glue to the back just to really hold it as securely in place as possible. I'm going to repeat this with the other shelves that I have. Then I'm going to hot glue my white shelves together. I'm going to add in some succulents and boxwoods that I had from Hobby Lobby just to kind of finish off this grouping. And I think this would look cute anywhere in your house. You could add it to a bathroom or so many different areas. I picked up what they call a rug at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to start by folding it over in half, and I'm going to be creating a lumbar pillow from this. Super easy to do. So I'm going to take the inside and just hot glue the edges and hold it in place. I'm going to do the same with the long edge so that I only have one side open. Next, I'm going to be using Buffalo Snow. I usually pick this up on clearance about this time of year. After Christmas, it's a great time to buy this, and you can get it at Walmart, a lot of times at the craft stores. And I'm just going to fill it up till it's nice and full. And then I'm going to make sure that the fringe pieces are kind of sticking out. And then I'm going to hot glue the edge together. So for $1 plus the cost of the filler, I was able to create a pillow for my home. Super inexpensive. So at the beginning of 2020, I grabbed these jars from Dollar Tree and I used them to create some vanity vases. I also picked up one of these little clear candle holders from Dollar Tree. So I'm going to take off the ribbons, add painter's tape about a third of the way down. Next up, I'm going to paint the bottom half with Waverly white chalk paint. Now, I love that it has this groove in it, and I'm not even going to bother getting it in the groove. I'm just going to put the paint on the surface to give me that nice textured look. I'm going to paint the candle holder with the same Waverly white chalk paint. And I'll just take off the painter's tape. I'm going to add a white ribbon to the top, hot gluing it in the back, and then I'll hot glue it in place. To attach one of the vases to the candle holder, I'm going to be using some E6000. These work great sitting out on your vanity for brushes or anything. And for $4, I have brush organization. You guys really loved this tiered tray. So what you're going to need is a bowl and a dinner plate. I got the same style with that little dots around the edges. And then I also bought the platter that has the dots as well. I picked up these gorgeous like sea foamy green little candle holders, and that's what we're gonna use as our in-between pieces. I'm spraying all the pieces with a Rust-Oleum coppery gold spray paint. And I like to do 2 coats and then flip it over, and then I'll do 2 more coats. Now to assemble a tiered tray, it's super easy. You're just going to hot glue the bottom. If you can get it in the center, the better your tray will look. And then I'm just going to put some hot glue around the top edge, and then I will put the plate on top of that. And then I'll put the other seafoam piece on top, and then I will add the bowl. You can use this in your home as decorative items. I love making tiered trays like this and putting jewelry on them in my closet. There's a lot of options and different purposes you can use for tiered trays. I decorated this one up for spring. All right, you guys, you'll have to let me know which of these projects was your favorite from 2020. Make sure if you're not already subscribed to my channel, you do so. I have so many fun projects planned for you for 21. So thank you for watching today's video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.